up, you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it.
Welcome to the InsideOutrz podcast, you lovely people. With me, Danny Lloyd, the man that took the I out of addict and put the Y in you.
And it's the Lock Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lock Dog, also known as Jordan Lockerbie. Let's take it away.
Okay, aka Rock Bottom resident.
I was going to leave that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's going on, Mr. Daniel Smith, today with us?
Yeah, not much, man. Thanks for having me.
That's all right, mate. It's lovely to have you here.
Let's go. Let's get it going.
Yeah, good. What's been cracking with you, Mr. Smith? How's life?
Yeah, pretty good. Just doing my thing, repping the Killer Moes at the moment. So
yes, I see that.
Not as much asbestos removal and more selling t-shirts, but I fucking love it. So
yeah, well, you should do. It's an amazing thing that you're doing, and we're going to delve into what Killer Moes is afterwards as we move through the journey into who you are and why you're here.
Yep.
But before we do that, let's introduce you from your mouth.
Yep.
Who
am I?
Who are you?
I don't know. Who am I? I don't know.
Tell me.
I don't
Extraterrestrial.
know. What, you want to know from what? A young pup or now or?
Well, who are you right now?
Family man, really. You might see a bit of an extra guy walking around, but yeah, first and foremost, that's family.
Yeah.
2 kids and a wife. Yeah, just the average Joe, really, just with a bit of ADHD and a bit of craziness. So.
And you have your own business?
Yeah, I run Hammer and Crow Property Services. We do demolition, strip outs and asbestos removal. 0457 937 119.
Hit that number up.
That's
best
free.
in the business.
Free quotes. So
Yeah.
first and foremost, that's it. To be honest, I fucking hate it. You know, it's shit work. You're wearing the asbestos suit and
Yeah.
you know yourself. You've come give me a hand a few times. 37 degrees and you're wearing that plastic suit and the mask strapped to your face is putrid. But you know, I've sort of chasing my dreams at the same time. So, just whenever it's hard, I just picture what my goals are and what I'm. Basically, I design T-shirts when in my head when shit time get tough.
Which is kind of partly what's led you onto this mad trajectory that me and the Lock Dog have been trying to be involved and help you with lately, which is a really beautiful thing we're going to go into after.
Yep.
I guess what I want to start with, now we kind of had our understanding, is, well, first of all, why did you agree to come on this podcast? And what do you hope our listeners get out of your episode?
Oh, well, yeah, I don't really think it myself, but I just heard, you know, throughout my life, I've got a pretty crazy story.
Yep.
And, I'm not really, because of my condition, I don't really look into the past or the future. I'm just full throttle in the moment, you know, so it's hard for me to look back. But, I guess if you look back when you hear the story, you think, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Probably, how am I still here? Could be in jail, could be bloody, you know.
Could be in a box.
Yeah, in a box or, you know.
And you quite nearly have been in a few times, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's partly why we were interested in getting you on, was I think there's a lot of power to your story, Dan. I think that as much as you may play it down, I think what you have experienced, lived through, grown through, and got into and then got out of is pretty much drives why we do this podcast. So don't you agree, Lock Dog?
100% agree. And speaking about boxes, we want to open your Pandora box.
Yeah, let's go. Open up my box, let's go.
Yep, okay.
Like a KFC zinger box. What you got, Lock Dog? What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is, Dan, I want you to tell me a bit about Killer Moes, because it's on your head. I'm loving it.
Yeah, you're loving it? Well, basically, it's just a nickname that we made up for the area I live in, Moana Beach,
Yeah.
down south. So that's really all it come from, was just killer mowies, you know?
Yeah.
Just the beach, and it represents the area as well, you know? It's not as far from mainstream, or you know, people start a brand and they do all the modelling crap, and it's not like that. It's more like community based, you know, and it'll cover just heaps of random shit, which is just like me. So
Yeah.
you might go from MMA to fucking graffiti to, just like fashion, you know, like it's just all mixed into one, you know. So the beach as well. So yeah, it's just the area in a brand, which is, that's why it's going to be bigger than most things, because it means more.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, in its own way, a bit of a representation of culture.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
The area in itself is very different. You know, like you got people hooning around on motocross bikes across the sand, and you can drive the cars down on the beach, and you know, there's a lot of just loose young kids out there. A lot of them would be, you know, pretty much like me when I was younger, going off the rails, and you know, to see everything's online these days, you know, social media. So when they come across the page, if they're going to represent the brand, which a shitload of people are now, they just see the videos and they go, you know, I want to cop t-shirts, and then they're going to be wearing it, but they're going to see me doing the charity shit, doing the good shit, giving back to the community. It's going to hopefully put them onto the right path, because they can see, you know, where I've taken it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that 100% makes sense. You know, like I've seen killer mowies online a lot lately, and I was telling Lloydie, I'll call him Lloydie because we've got two Dans in the studio, but I was telling Lloydie the other day, I'm like, man, I'm pretty tempted to buy something from killer mowies, eh? Like it's just everywhere. I'm, you know, loving the vids too.
Yep.
You know, all the mad shit you keep doing online. Like I seen one today of you getting choked out on a floor.
Yeah. So went down to Sheffy Shelby's, and we're
Shout out Sheffy Shelby's.
Yeah, in Morford Vale. So maddest breakfast, huge burgers, like just really killer stuff. So went down there. We're making our own burger, and we're just fucking around really in the cafe, and she ended up choking me out on the floor. She does her jiu-jitsu, so Mrs. was filming it, and just went rolling into the cafe chairs. The whole cafe was full of people, and Mrs. is going, "You tapped out?" I'm like, "Nah, my hand hit the chair. I just hit the chair, bro. You see the video?" I'm like, "I didn't fucking tap."
Yeah, and do you know what? Watching that video today, I think that's what encapsulates what I've seen you start developing with this brand and this mission. And what I love about it is you may not have started out doing the T-shirts with this in mind, but what I see, because, you know, I'd like to regard you as a good mate of mine. I feel like we hang out enough to see what you do with your life lately. And what I see is happening lately with Killer Mowies is it's almost turning into what they would call a non-for-profit, where you're just selling, making sure that the costs are met that you have to do for the T-shirts. And then lately you've been reinvesting to help other people, like Breakfast Bellies, where you did the thing with St. Bernard's fruit and veg shop last week, which we were down at doing the egg throwing at you and that.
Yep.
Yeah, can we actually explore that further? Because most people start a merch shop, whether it be online or in a store, tangible store.
Yeah.
Most people do it for money. What's the backstory behind why you do it and what you're doing it for?
Yeah, well, really just goes back to my demolition business, Hammer and Crow Property Services. 0457937119.
Trust me, that's all they have is hammers and crows.
Yeah, anyway, so I just fucking hate it. And, you know yourself, we've been through the financial side of it. The money's just through the roof, you know, like it's more of a lifestyle thing for me. I'll probably, what do we work 1 or 2 days a week, you know?
And maybe 4 hours a day.
Yeah, so 4 hours the job goes for, you know, the money's amazing for 2 days work, you know. If I was to do 7 days a week, you know, I could probably make 20 grand a week. Do you know what I mean? That's how much is in it. But it's a lifestyle thing for me, you know. I don't want to work that much. I just do 2-3 days and then just kick back with my family, you know.
So it's an unpleasant job, but you are able to buy a lot of time from it.
Yeah, and I enjoy designing. You know, I've probably got a couple hundred logos designed. You know, I've designed all these before I even sold a shirt. So this is the reason why, you know, I just do it just to take my mind off the shit work, you know, and do what I enjoy. And I just get my...
Explain the concept. Like as in, so you know how you just said you got 200 designs. So explain that to people listening, the concept idea of how you come up with them like you did with me, where you basically find... Where you were saying.
Okay, yeah. So... I don't really enjoy, you know, the rich, you know, just like fill in their pockets. And like you said, you know, we give back to the community and whatever. But I just sort of despise the rich. So that's where I came from, like rob the rich sort of thing. So I take like famous logos, for instance, and I'll change them around into Killamoes, which is like... And a lot of them are just freaking hilarious, you know.
They actually are. That the Jim's mowing, you know, type one was funny.
There's so many there's probably the top 5 would probably be, you know, Jim's mowing was alright, and you know, I'll do like old school hotels, change the logos around Killamoes Hotel, you know, have a lot of rude you know, slogans on the back, and you know, or I had fat fuck noodle bar written in, you know, Vietnamese type writing, so, and then Killamoes on there. So just like, you know, just taking the piss, really having fun, and that's what I'm like as a person as well. Yeah, you don't really see me get serious very often.
No, you don't. But I think that you are a man from my experience with you. I think you're a man that's a lot deeper than people realise, though.
Yeah, for sure.
But you may not.
Don't show it.
You may not word it, but I know you show it. Like you're much more actions speak louder than words for you. Like you may not say it, but when I watch you, it's what you do that shows me you actually a lot deeper and you care a lot more than your comedy kind of jester clown type laugh, make people smile persona would be seen, right?
Yeah, I don't know. You just got to get to know me a bit, and then you get the real, you get the sweet juice in the cherry, you know.
Well, speaking of getting to know you, that's very much why you're here, because we want to get to know you more, and also everyone that listens is going to get to know who you are, and if they already know you, they're going to know you more. So we are very much around mental health and addiction. That's the foundation of what this podcast is about. So I'd like to deep dive into a bit about Dan Smith, and we can go as far back as maybe teens. What does teens now look like with your mental health? I understand you've got ADHD, which we will touch on.
Yep.
And if you've had issues with substance abuse, let's talk about it.
Yep. Well, substance abuse, I'll probably just party drugs, you know, ever since I was 18, from alcohol, pills, everything you can think of. You know, with my condition, I'm borderline addicted to anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, if you give me an inch, I'll take a mile, you know, like, was pretty much known, like, for 5-day benders, like, I was the king of the bender, you know, for, you know, since 18 probably to 30, like, that's what I was known for, and I used to wear that as, like, you know, the sheriff badge on my chest, like, I was so proud.
Yeah.
And now it's only taken to, you know, have a family and fucking been married for years. I still thought it was the best. It's only recently that I've gone, fuck me, what an idiot. You know, that's just a fucking putrid thing to be proud of. Yeah. What, staying up for 3 days in a row, that's fucking bullshit. Like, and then being, you know, fried for the rest. And you've got a family to look after. And you're just laying on the couch fucking...
Yeah.
You know, one day's all right. I'll tie it into one day, you know, and do a couple of hours hungover, but I still get up. I'm up at 6:30, 7 o'clock, get the daughter up, you know. I make sure I'm able to do that sort of stuff. My missus looks at me like, fuck, no, are you all right, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I just went off on one then.
No.
Right.
So what would you say then in all of the things that you've been up to, what's been the one addiction in your life that you overcame and learnt the most from? Like, out of all the things you've got yourself into.
Well, yeah, alcohol, like I've said to you in the past, we've discussed it, you know, like a lot of people, you know, they get hooked on the ice, they're hooked on the Charlie, whatever, but if obviously Danny works with me a fair bit, so I semi-use him as a counsellor half the time. Like we talk for hours. So
yeah, we do.
My major problem is alcohol and just wanting to keep the party going, if that makes sense. Like a lot of people want to drink they'll go out for 3 hours. That's not good enough for me. I need like 24 hours of drinking. So, you know, whatever's gonna keep me to do 24 hours, I'm looking for it, you know, so I've got to try and rein that in as best I can.
I mean, I remember you telling me a couple of times when you keep in touch with your friends that are all interstate and working away or whatever.
Yep.
And you were telling me sometimes you'll rein it in, you'll go out and have some beers for the day or whatever, but you'll make sure you rein it in and get home.
Yep.
But then you'll go and sit out the back in the garage there.
Yeah.
And drink, you know, whatever you brought home with you or whatever.
Yeah.
And just sit there and have, but like it's harmless fun. You're just sitting and doing Snapchat videos with your friends, but it's still that. Yeah. So I've reined it in and I'm home.
Yeah.
But there's still.
It's all about, you tell yourself, you know, I'm home at a reasonable hour.
Yeah.
So I'm not causing any trouble out in the street.
Yeah.
So I can be in my garage, like, fighting with the dog and filming and listening to rap music and fucking, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to rein that in as well. I haven't done that for ages. So
I think
at least 10 days I haven't done that.
No, look, I think what it is a progression.
Yeah.
So it used to be 5-6 day debt benders. Then it was like got away from that and it was about then just being careful I didn't stay out for 24 hours drinking.
Yep.
To then going, I can go out for the day and drink, but I got to make sure there's certain people I can't hang around because I'll probably go off the rails with.
Yep.
And make sure I'm home by 10. To then, once I get home at 10, the progression at this point now is sometimes just wanting to crack on, but just on my own, harmless fun, and play with the dogs, right?
I'm not sure. Just it is like that, but the more time goes on, the less appealing that's coming to me, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But there's all, like I told you, with all the ADHD stuff. Once I got diagnosed with it.
Yeah.
There's ways you can. My whole life, I've started making combating the ADHD without knowing it.
Yeah.
So there's ways around it, if that makes sense. I'm starting to do stuff because I know the outcome.
Yeah.
So I'm just sort of working through it. No one's fucking perfect. If they tell you they are, they need their head bounced off the table when they come in here. You know what I mean? I'd love to see that too.
No, I think you're quite right. People, I think everybody's battling something, even if they want to pretend they're not.
The realest people will come in here and they'll lay themselves bare.
And that's what we want. We want people to come in here and you know, you're where you're at now, which is why I wanted you to come on here, because you can inspire the people to know where you've been, which is the whole point of this podcast, is to find that out, to see where you're at.
Yep.
And it's inspiring. So other people that sit there and they get like stuck in the problem, right? Yep. Whatever they're in, they just sit there in the problem. It's like, your victim mentality after a while is not going to get you anywhere. It's not attacking someone to say, oh, you know, playing the victim. It's not that. It's just at some point you have to make a decision to go, this isn't what I deserve, actually. I deserve better than this. Mm-hmm. And obviously that's what we've all done in our own lives to get where we are today, right? So, and everybody can do it. We're just normal guys, right? Normal fellas. So if we've done it, anyone watching, man or woman, or LGBTQI and the other things, anyone can do it. Just making sure I'm staying.
If you can't say it, don't say it.
Yeah.
I did say it.
That's right, you covered it.
Yeah.
Now let's move on.
All right, cool. So, all right, I'm interested to know then, who was Dan Smith as a young kid? See, because you just said before, right, with the ADHD, you were combating it without even knowing you had it when you were younger, right? Like you were finding ways to duck and dive it. But who was Dan Smith as a young kid before he hit teens? Like, what was it like?
Yeah, well, I didn't really learn to combat it until, you know, my adult years, you know?
Yeah.
So as a kid, I was just running through it, you know, like...
Yeah.
to paint a little picture, like, so I'm talking year 3, I was standing on the desks in the class and get off the desk, Daniel. No, like I was that naughty in the classroom.
Yeah.
Like they took my parents into the class and they were just sitting there and I was there.
Yeah, okay.
And they were looking at each other talking, and that all 3 of them didn't know what to do with me. It was like that. I remember that as early as year 3.
Wow.
Right. Shout out to Paddo. He was in my class. Still good mates now.
Okay.
Another one who's gone through the addiction thing, turned his life around.
Yep.
So yeah, shout out Paddo,
So-
BC Dub crew.
So basically, I mean, obviously, I know we're a couple of years apart, me and you, Dan. Like, I mean, Lock Dog's 27, you're 34.
Yeah, just the other day. Yeah.
34 the other day, and I'm 40. So there's a little bit of a wide range, but I feel that whole bracket of age, ADHD wasn't understood when we were all in school, and so we were just labelled as disruptive kids.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Pretty much. They sort of they put me into a buddy system, so to look at get the year 7s to sort of look after me. I don't know, like if they just didn't know what the fuck to do, but that was the go. And then year 5, I was like sort of hanging around all the wrong ends, and parents thought it'd be a good idea to send me to another school. So I think I was on the verge of getting kicked out, went to another school, and through high school I seemed to think I was calming down a bit. Like I wasn't that crazy little kid. I was more, but then the parties come along. And
so you're an only child, is that correct?
No.
Sorry, your sister.
Yeah, sister.
No. Like I mean, from mum and dad.
Yeah, I got a sister.
You and your sister.
Yeah.
That's right.
And 3 stepbrothers.
Yeah. So, do you feel that the things you were trying to navigate at school when you were young and getting in trouble, or having mum and dad being pulled in, do you think that put a strain on them as parents? Like, were they together still when you were like young?
So primary school, yeah. Then after, they were together when I was off the rails in bloody primary school. Do you know what I mean? So I can't say, oh, my parents split up, that's why. Because
I wasn't saying that. It's just interesting because we didn't know back then that the way that we were as kids, and they didn't know either. It was not actually us being raised wrong.
Regardless on how you turn out, you can't help how your brain's that way from the start. So you can blame it on whatever you want, or you could be in the most perfect thing and you're still going to act that way because that's how you are. You're not being taught the way you need to be. Like how you were saying with Montessori and stuff.
Exactly.
Can I ask a question, actually? Is there anyone else in your family with ADHD or a mental health disorder?
Yes, there is. But a lot, how can I say it? A lot of them wouldn't be so keen to be spoken about, if that makes sense. It's not in my immediate family. It's in
No.
And I won't say too much more, but they're not the people that want to put their hand up. Put it that way.
I didn't want names. I was going to actually just let the audience know that for those that are listening and do listen, that sometimes these disorders can come from a genetic place.
Yeah.
Like it might be something in the genes, and it's not that something tragic's happened or the trauma card had kind of been flung out on the table. It's just genetic.
Mm-hmm.
You get dealt with, you get dealt. Unfortunately, it's in the genes, and you got to learn to deal with it the best way you can.
Yeah. One thing I will say as well is, like, obviously, like you said, you can't help it, but people, like your family, just want the best for you, right? And they don't want you labelled. Yeah. So at the start, they kind of think they're doing the right thing for you. Mm. And in a way, well, now I've been through the bloody process where to the point of being medicated, right? And seen the psychiatrist, and I've had the vials of drugs, and now I've ditched them and I don't want to touch them. Do you know what I mean? Mm. So they don't want you medicated, your family, and they don't want to say, oh, he's got ADHD. But the thing is, it's all right to say you got ADHD, but then it's another thing to give you bottles of pills that you have to eat every day. There's two sides, but so in a way, what they want for you at the start works out in the end what you really need to do. Anyway, you need to do it naturally is the way to treat it, which is like, so I do it through fitness and, you know, just exhausting myself, and it just helps me, you know.
Which in a way is where Kilimoe's almost got invented too, because it was your creativity in doing that is what gives you your brain some energy to focus on outside of Hammer and Crow services.
Yeah.
And having obviously your two beautiful children.
I was always pretty creative.
Yeah.
You know, I started off spray painting bus stops and stuff like that. And,
so you into the Adelaide graph scene?
Yeah, when I was a kid, and it was good. And then I sort of, graduated into bloody tattoos, you know, and designed my fucking self. And and then I just sort of run out of skin. And then next thing I was on an app designing logos. Like, I don't know, it just, it's graffiti for adults, put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hammer and Crow, that's your business now, but that was all driven by starting out in the demolition game as a young 18-year-old. What the hell was that like?
Yeah, so pretty wild. Like, when I look back on it, I was pretty off the rails, you know, like I've said. I didn't work when I left school. Here, I'll go on to a little side story. So left school, nothing really to do. I was getting in so much trouble. It wasn't school trouble anymore. It's, you know, moved on to the police, and I had no job. I was just doing like furniture removals a couple of times a week. Just had three open court cases in a year. You know, lawyers. They had me on a sign-in at Holden Hill where I had to sign in every Friday, make sure I didn't leave the state, and end up going to a party and got in a fight, got stabbed, and fucking run into the Portaloo, nearly like lost all the blood and died in the fucking Portaloo, got taken to hospital. You know, mum's come and picked me up from the hospital, signed myself out, and me and my mates were drinking in the car park. You know, she seen all this shit and fucking, you know, it was pretty just bit of a scumbag when I look back at it. You know, as much as I've changed now, it's pretty shit, but...
Well, but I think sometimes to fly, you got to fall.
Yeah. So anyway, to answer the... so I finally got myself a job.
Yeah.
You know, the bullshit was still going on, but at least I was working.
But you had a routine.
Yeah.
Suddenly you had a routine.
Yeah, a lot of trouble I was getting in might have been on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night. So at least if I had a job, you know, I had somewhere I had to be. So... You know, like I explained, I wasn't the best little kid, 18-year-old. I signed up to the demolition company when I was 17.
Yeah.
And they waited for my 18th birthday for my first day of work. And back then, it was like, you look at demolition companies now, everyone's got the FXD pants on, the tight pants, you know, everyone's... a lot more modernised. People got got the protein shakes at lunch, you know. But let me tell you, man, when I was 18, you're talking about like 2007, something like that. Yeah. And doesn't sound like that long ago, but the demolition game was rough, man. There was like probably, you know, at least half were jailbirds.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's got the bloody spiderweb tats and the... fucking all the Yatla prison tattoos, you know, because there's no police checks back then, and it was basically, they used to joke about it, you know, they stand out the front of Yatla prison and with a big piece of cardboard saying, "We've got jobs," you know. So yeah, a lot of people, put it this way, people would call it abuse in this day and age, whereas my skin was thick enough to say, like, it's just paying your dues, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm talking like, you know, coming out the showers butt naked, getting spanked with wire brushes on the back and on the arse cheeks, tied up, fucking...
And just so people understand, because not everybody knows what me and you have done on and off as job, career stuff. When you say coming out of showers, why are you coming? They're going to be understood. People want to know why you're in showers with men. So maybe
obviously we've got the change room set up for... After you come out doing a demolition job, if it contains asbestos, you need to strip off in the area and come through and just wash all the asbestos off off you before, and then you go into the change room, get changed. So,
just making sure everyone understood that.
Well, yeah. So, and now picture you being a 18-year-old kid, and you're standing butt naked in the shower area with like
basically criminals,
15 like fucking ex-cons, like it's borderline jail, like plus they keep you there for fucking 12 hours a day, so it may as well be like.
Yeah, and by the time you do the toolbox talks and everything, it's 13 and a half, right?
Yeah, fuck that.
So, yeah, okay. So that's a lot to take in. So ironically, you've gone from being this loose teenager involved in all manners of things. Court cases are ongoing. You've even been stabbed and gone straight back out after that. All these things are going on, and you didn't have a routine then of like a job. Then you end up getting at least some routine day to day for a job.
Yep.
But everything you've got and you're trying to get away from through this job, you've been put in front of, but just more of a grown-up version.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, I felt like I sort of grew up a lot, but I was more criminally minded, if that makes sense. More in a, like, in a tough version, if that makes sense. Like I was, my mates were, if they weren't working, they weren't really progressing, but I was sort of progressing in the wrong way, even though I had the money, you know. Mentally, I'm looking up to people that are the wrong types.
So yeah, you're modeling the wrong kind of people.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And where did that land you? Let's go forward a little bit more.
Well, pretty much like, I still got in a few more court cases, that's for sure. But it was dying out. It was dying out. It was sort of go up and down. Probably the peak of it though, bloody landing myself on Crime Stoppers, so that wasn't very good.
What was that for?
It's a fight at a nightclub, which involved off-duty police, but won't go into it too much.
Okay, that's all right.
So
it's a long time ago.
Yeah, me and a mate sort of got tied up in it, and then they were looking for us put us on Crime Stoppers, trying to track us down, and I flew to Perth at the time for work, and the cops saw that as me sort of taking the piss because I'd been charged so many times. They thought that I was like escaping when I wasn't. I was just going to do a course in Perth, but they thought I'd done the runner. So next thing, they're bloody at mum's house looking for me. Just shit that they don't believe. Shit that they don't deserve at all, I've apologised to my mum and my stepdad for all this shit that I put them through, having the cops run through your house for this little cunt that's fucking not even in the state.
Yeah.
I've said sorry probably 10 times, like, sincerely, but like my missus said, like, you've said sorry, but I just can't forgive myself. Like, I don't think I ever will, but maybe like the more good I do, is... It makes me feel better, put it that way, the better things I do.
Do you think if you had a better awareness back then around the ADHD and everything, you would probably have done things differently, or do you think you would have done it exactly the same?
I think so. It would have been good to at least know, because what they call it is your tics. Your tics are what make you, like your ADHD tics, when this is happening, you do this. Like if you know all them, and there's probably about 10 of them major ones, can really help you throughout your day. So, yeah, I think so, for sure.
Yeah, okay. So, obviously, then you would say that your ADHD has definitely had a big impact on your life.
Yes.
In different aspects.
Yeah, in good and in bad. Like, it's not... So, if anyone's listening, like, it's not a bad thing at all. You just have to control your urges because you're very...
impulsive.
What do you call it? Yeah, impulsive. And like, if you're like, I'm going to go do this, you're already doing it, So you need to, like I said, make a list, combat all your shit so you know the tics that set you off, and make sure you don't do them, and put yourself, like you said, you go home and you get on the piss at home. But if I wasn't at home, I'll probably be making a phone call and end out at one of my mates' houses in Teachery Gully, and I'm at Moana Beach.
Yeah, no. Why I brought that up before is I find it fascinating how much you're progressing through these stages of change where I can see you down the line barely ever drinking. And not as in because you have to stop.
Yeah.
I just see the more love, joy and happiness that keeps coming into your life through your beautiful family and even, like the lifestyle you've created. And it's not been easy with Hammer and Crow, like to where you're at now.
Yeah.
That ain't just happen overnight.
No, it doesn't.
Like you're at a point now where you can smartly use and leverage working smart, but still for a monetary value of gain every week where you can be at home most of the time with your family.
Yep.
Right? Like, and I think the more we build connection to ourselves, like I think even with the Killer Moes, it's connecting from the outside looking in at you. It's connecting you to you.
Yep.
And like, you said before, I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive myself. I think you will. I think the closer you're getting to connecting fully to who you are and understanding you is when you'll forgive yourself. And that's just someone as a mate that's looking in. But I've seen even in the year since I've been back in Adelaide and been around you, I've just seen such a big progression in you as business and life and having Lennox now, as well as Callie and your wife and your family and the family that's come along with your wife and then the family that you also have, with your mum and your stepdad and also your dad and your sister and then your brothers. So, it's been cool to watch. All right, well, before I go into the next question...
Who's of the week?
I reckon it might be time because I think I've got an absolute barnstormer today for news of the week, to be honest.
Read all about it. Read all about it. It's the news of the week.
And it is that time of the week where we take a little break from what we're going into and we get into what we got. This week, it comes from London. London town, bruv. And this is a very peculiar story. Definitely one for the sweet-toothed. A man who prosecutors said broke into a UK industrial park to steal almost 200,000 chocolate Easter eggs has pleaded guilty to theft and criminal damage. Prosecutors said Tuesday that Joby Paul used a metal grinder to break through a gate into Telford, central England on Saturday and used a stolen semi-truck to tow away a trailer loaded with Cadbury cream eggs worth more than £31,000. I'm just trying to process before I finish this story. Who are you fencing them to? Like, at what point, with 31 grand's worth of chocolate eggs, are you managing to find a black market to offload them and make 30 grand?
You gotta melt it down for sure.
Like gold. Well, West Mercia police tweeted Monday that shortly after the break-in, officers stopped a vehicle, presumably purporting to be the Easter Bunny, on a highway. Prosecutor Owen Beale said Paul gave up when he realised police was after him, and Paul walked towards the police with his hands up. He was arrested and the load was recovered with no eggs broken. That's actually written in the story.
That's dry.
Yeah, it is. He added that Paul had planned the theft and that he had previous convictions for handling stolen goods, and Paul's entered guilty pleas to theft of the trailer, theft of its contents and criminal damage to the chain. And he's expected to be sentenced next month. Now, lads, how would you feel after sentencing going into your first night in prison with hardened criminals, rapists, murderers, gang members and the like, and having to tell people that you were in for robbing Cadbury's cream eggs?
I'll tell them I'm the Easter Bunny.
Well, you wouldn't have to tell them unless they check your paperwork, and then even then you could still say you robbed a bloody Porsche or something,
Yeah, but but see, my understanding of prison politics has always been that they'll always find out, everybody in there, what you're in for, because the screws always open their mouth anyway.
Yeah, plus she's on the news, so that wouldn't help you when they're watching the TV.
Mate, if it's on News of the Week, then it's a big deal,
That's
right?
it.
If it's on News of the Week, it's a big deal.
Every crim in Australia has seen you.
I just find it hilarious that someone would plan a heist like that for chocolate. Like, I can't understand how you fence that. I mean, you got diamonds, gold, money, robbing banks, pull up ATMs. Nah, I'm going to go rob Cadbury cream eggs.
Did it say it was planned?
Well, obviously...
He might have just been on one.
He could have been... It's true. He could have been on one. I mean, yeah, it's true.
Could have been one of those spontaneous things, absolutely twisted.
Stole the forklift, let's go.
On the way to get some food, you have to get twisted.
Yeah.
And just comes across a big fucking Cadbury truck.
Well, it's definitely one for my brain to digest, a bit like you would have to try and digest 31 grams worth of Cadbury's cream eggs. That's all I can say.
Keep the missus happy.
Pull your fucking head in, bruv.
Yeah, pull your head in, bruv. Go and steal something proper like gold next time, Mr. Paul.
Oh, it's nearly Easter. Who knows?
We don't condone crime on this podcast.
No, we don't. But if you're going to do it properly.
Disregard that.
Okay, back in my box. All right, cool. Moving on.
Back in your box.
Moving on, bruv. So, after all of these things we've talked about, who has been the one person that you look up to or admire the most trying to get to where you are today? Who have you looked up to the most to help you?
Probably could say my old man, my dad.
Yeah.
But not just him. Like on my dad's side of the family, I got 2 uncles that are, really successful business types.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
always looked up to them, but I never had I wasn't doing business. So.
What's their? How have they become successful? If it's the right to ask.
Just one's through the building industry, and then another one actually used to sell the heart bloody defibrillators and everything that you see everywhere. So he's been all over the world, staying. I can't remember where actually, like places like. Eastern Europe and stuff like that, all up in the snow that way. So just like big experiences for these guys, and like the other one was in Sydney, moved all around Australia basically.
Yeah, cool.
He's living in Byron now and just sort of commutes to work when he needs to. And it's just like, I look up to the lifestyle more than anything, So
that's kind of cool to look up to a model. That's definitely a change from modelling ex-cons in the demo game, at least.
Yeah. Just quickly as well, like obviously go into the properties and the business, everything. Dad's bloody helped me out through that with all the brains. Obviously, I've done the hard work, but it's not easy to, buy properties, sell. Probably easier to sell them than it is to buy, and just getting all your ducks in a row for all properties and stuff. Like I'm fucking useless. So, yeah, shout out to Mickey Bulldog Smith. Yeah, fucking love ya.
That's right. I almost forgot that you had a property portfolio going on.
Yeah, well, more like used to, but yeah, it was pretty thick at one stage. Yeah.
Yeah. How thick? How many properties did you have, and at what age did you have all of them?
I know you're going to ask me why, like how it happened. So obviously through that demolition business that I worked for, they ended up scoring a lot of away work. So one thing my brain knew was what was good for me is just to get out, so get away. So ended up doing about maybe 4 or 5 years in the mine. So stacked up a shit ton of money over there, and I was going to Bali, 5 times in 6 months. I'd be in Bali just covering myself in tattoos, and Dad sort of said, are you all right? Are you going to actually fucking do something with the money? I started looking at like buying an old Porsche for no reason, and he's like, no. So and end up, got a few properties going, one like ADHD as well. You always want more, so went with the apartment side of things, and then, you know, all of a sudden I had 2, all of a sudden I had 3, you know, and then bought my own house. So fucking, you know, in my late 20s, I owned 4 properties, you know, and I was trying to manage them all with the funds, and fucking, it's all good when you're working away, but then you come back and jump on the salary that's in Adelaide, and Jesus, like, it was fucking stressful, man. I'm telling you, the money was going, like I said, 10 grand couldn't go out of my bank in 1 month just on the properties and my own mortgage. So yeah, the stress just, at least I got about, you know, I had them for, say, 5-6 years, and then I just, like, started to downsize. And the more fucking I downsized, it felt like the noose was getting looser, you know, everyone that went. And then, yeah, I'm just in a position now where I'm just happy, you know, and fucking don't have to stress too much. And so,
I mean, I think that in itself, honestly, like...
It's impressive.
I think it's fucking impressive. Like, you're 34 years old, just turned... And we've just heard a plethora of absolute bedlam of your life up to here, while also actually being a true blue, hard-working Aussie, doing the away work, putting the time and effort and money in, and then having a father like you've had to then get hold of you and to have been coachable and let him tell you what to do. Yeah. Obviously, and your uncles, by the sounds of it, have actually had a bit of influence just from afar, watching you, watching them.
More like me watching them.
But I think to myself, 34 years old, and you've had a property portfolio, of which I know you've reduced now, but you've had a property portfolio. You've had all of that chaos most of your life to deal with. Outside of that, you've got what I can only describe as an absolutely stunning relationship and marriage, and built a little beautiful family, with the newest addition being the bruiser himself, Lennox.
Before we go on, I just want to say, like, you can't use such, you know, as a portfolio at a young age. People go, excellent, right? But what I would do, I would use that as an excuse for my behaviour. So I would act up, like, extremely, you know, like, and a lot of the times I'm getting in this trouble and stuff like that. But in my head, you act like you're untouchable because you're doing so well financially, you know, and it actually fucking buries you. Like, some of the situations are just fucking wild. But
that's actually really interesting.
I was trying not to laugh when he said about, you know, at the beginning, like, with one house, then another house, then another house. Yep. And then I brought myself a house. So you got 3 houses deep before you considered yourself.
Yes, definitely. Yes. But always, so as much as you say, oh, your dad helped you. Yeah. He was helping me and giving me advice. Yeah. But I wouldn't listen to the advice. So no. As much as it's a good thing. If I was to switch off and go, some of the advice was, get a house, okay? The house is going to increase in value. But my mind was like, nah, fuck that. I want more. I need more properties, you know? It's a classic ADHD thing. You know, same as the hyperfocus, same as the tattoos. More until you know, people say, don't do your neck. And then next thing you're up your neck, up to your fucking neck. And that's where I was in debt, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I like that little metaphor.
Yes, there we go.
All right. So, interesting. So, what is something then that people misunderstand about you?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I was talking to the missus about this before we come. Yeah. Just fucking... There's a lot of judgmental people out there. Yeah. But, yeah, I just don't give a fuck what they think. You know what I mean? Like,
actually, I got a better way to turn that around a bit. What's something you think people misunderstand about you?
Yeah, well, just like with the tattoos, and, you know, a lot of people, you'll find, like, the most judgmental people are all these sheltered people. You know, they haven't done a fucking thing with their life. Like, and I don't mean successfully. Like, most of them haven't even left the fucking state, do you know what I mean? And they'll sit there and look at this guy's tattoos, you know? Like, that's such a big fucking bad thing. And you also find someone who acts like that, this is like you say, I'm a bit of a deep thinking guy. You'll 100% find that those people are the racists. Yep. They'll look at other cultures and they'll be racist towards that because they're scared, bro. They're scared. They can't imagine what it's like to be in another country, or go and getting tattoos or traveling or anything out of the norm. They just look at and it scares them.
Yeah.
Like you said, like when we were talking the other day, they're actually looking in a mirror, and when they see you doing something different, they're just straight away on the defensive.
Yeah, because you're doing what they wish they had the balls to do,
Yeah, they
or at least experience.
They might not like tattoos, and that's fine,
Yeah.
but they're probably into something else that I don't give a fuck what they do. Like, just go do your thing. Don't worry about it.
So when you did give a fuck, how did it make you feel when people would have this preconceived thing?
Pretty angry.
Yeah, like inside.
But then you just, I don't know, you just get over it. But
Yeah,
at the start,
I know, but it's still not nice. I mean, look, my mum's always said to me, look, some of the nicest people she's ever met are covered in tattoos, and some of the worst go to church.
yeah, well, that's perfect. That's perfect. But like I said as well, when I was talking sort of before I left home, this is off topic completely, but it sort of relates to what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So me and my dad, we do a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
Or every year probably we go to another country,
Yeah.
So Vietnam, Thailand, wherever. We went to Cambodia last year, and I went to the S21 prison, right? So that's where Pol Pot, he slaughtered his whole country because he wanted them under their regime.
That was the Khmer Rouge thing, eh?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So went through all of that, and I love my history and stuff. So when I did all the tours and stuff, and I took a photo, right? I posted all my shit on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And it's all teaching, the Westerners, like people in Adelaide, Australians, like our heads are under a rock. We don't see, like, this shit happened like hundreds of years ago, right?
Yeah.
But the Pol Pot thing didn't. But
No, that was
the history that we don't know. It's just like Aussies just think, we're all sweet, like nothing matters. No one gives a fuck. But I posted this video. Let me get to the point, right?
Yeah.
So on Facebook. And it was the photos of the S21 prison where they took all the people and slaughtered them, right? And it shows you what happened to them, right?
Yeah.
And some people's posts on the Facebook would say, oh my fucking God, I never knew about this,
Yeah.
You know what fucking Kylie Jenner's wearing this week, but you don't know your fucking world history,
Yeah.
But anyway, so I posted it on there, and there'd be 10 comments. Wow, thank you for sharing.
Exactly.
Wow, thank you for sharing. Then you'll get, I won't mention names, but some fuckwit, that sees that post. When I get home, he goes, oh, what'd you do? Like fucking said some racist shit that because I went there, he's got a thing to say of it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Some sheltered fuckwit that is just, he's never even got out of his fucking chair, let alone gone and seen world history.
Couldn't run the fucking length of himself.
So it's definitely that perception is projection.
Yeah.
There's definitely something about you that grows envy inside them, and they project it out as hatred.
Yeah.
But I just think that's bullshit. People need to just get out of their comfort, their zone, and see other cultures.
I think so. I think it's needed massively, and I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a whole amazing plethora of places in this beautiful country to visit as an Aussie. I get that.
Yeah.
But one thing I say to a lot of Australian men and women I meet that are of my age or younger is just go overseas and travel a bit, because when you see buildings that are older than your country is, as Australia, instead of more what it was for 40,000 years under Aboriginal culture, history, man, it's actually what traveling is one of the best educations that I think you can get anybody to do. Like my mum told me when I was young that all she cared about was she just said two things: be happy and travel often. That's it. Everything else, do what you want.
Yep.
Yeah,
traveling.
100%. And it is like what Smithy was just saying. Like, we are very sheltered. Like, especially in first world countries, we forget the horrible, horrific stories that ended before this point.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we've only lived in this point.
Yeah, it's the,
seen this
the
point.
lucky country, you know. That's why they call it that, because we haven't really felt much pain other than the past before the us Australians, you know.
And do you think on that? And I know we touched on this briefly the other day, me and you, when we were just driving somewhere. Do you think on that, what you're saying there, not just the sheltered stuff, but whatever, that as Australian men anyway, of age ranges like all of ours in the room, do you feel like that shelteredness is also down to not knowing how to emote how they feel?
Yeah, well, be able to express.
Yeah, express. You know, like that kind of King of the Hill type stuff that you see on a cartoon. Where they just sit there with their beer and they basically just say nothing to each other. They just sit there.
Yeah,
they don't know how to.
It's like Seinfeld. It's just the show about nothing. Like.
Yeah, pretty much. Which, you know, obviously that creates a disconnection, which is always something that's going to drive addictive behaviours, gambling online, all the different.
Yeah, things. I just think. Like you say, like Australians, they're just bought to be, you know, like you got the boxing kangaroo, just be hard as nails, shut the fuck up and just get it done. And that's how the older generation thinks. Yep. And if they can pass that on to their next generation, their kids, they will do. Yep. And if that generation accepts it, then you're just going to have more fuckwits.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's kind of like they're saying, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times.
Oof.
We're very much in there at the moment. And it is that thing, you know, like we get complacent in easy lifestyles, money, our first world, what do you call it?
First world problems.
Oh, not even first world problems. It's just our entitlements.
Yeah.
More entitlements. And then those entitlements, when they go wrong, they become a first world problem. And and history shows, you know, strong men are born, you know, after wars, go through wars, and then
you can still, you know, be a stand-up guy, you know, but you just don't have to, you know, act in that certain way where it's overboard and, you know, like where you're not showing any emotion. That's not healthy.
That's what I mean. I think and that's something that concerns me is that low emotional intelligence. Sometimes they may have very high IQ, but men around the world right now that have avoided the hard conversations when they're struggling with each other, that become so lost in any conversation these days. And we're getting to this point where it's like a tipping point where men don't even know they are anymore because of how far left the kind of feminine movement has gone. Yeah. Like, it's like men are going, I don't even know where the fuck I fit anymore.
And especially like...
I don't know what to say. I don't know what's correct to say or what's wrong.
Yeah. Like you're saying, the real hard-nosed people that just, you know, testosterone, and then what happens to them when they go into depression? If they can't even express how they're feeling to their own mates, how are they ever going to say, oh, fuck, I've got actual depression now. I need to actually talk to save my life. And because you're 100% tough cunt all the time, you're not even going to be able to help yourself.
And unfortunately, that's what's driving a lot of male suicide at the moment, I believe.
Exactly. They'd just rather top themselves than talk to someone, and that's fucked.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. And, you know, unfortunately for men, the person we would probably love to open up to the most is our other half. You know, that partner we have in our lives. But generally, you know, like, especially if women, bring up women, that they always say, you know, I would love a sensitive man. Or I'd love my partner to be a bit more emotional with me, open up about how he's feeling. I'll tell any man out there, do it. Do it. I guarantee you she can't carry what comes out of you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She'll go, what the F is that?
Yeah.
I don't know how to deal with that.
Exactly.
And you lose that masculine image and all the things, and generally you open up about your feelings, and somehow it ends up being all about her and how she's feeling because of your feelings.
Yeah.
So you're not heard.
Yeah,
but
you can't win.
On a positive spin around that, though, I want to know what you love most about your wife, Shazza.
Oh, don't get me going. I'll start crying.
Yeah?
I've already spoke to her about this.
Yeah. I know that
I'll keep it short and sharp, but yeah, she's my best mate. So yeah, just helped me through life, and I'm helping her, and we're just good soulmates, It's
Yeah.
high school sweethearts, so
Yeah. Navigating
it's
it together.
fucking-
How long have you been together now?
Been married about 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't know, like 8 years, I guess,
Yeah,
or
okay.
something like that.
And you would have navigated a lot of choppy waters in those early parts because
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
you were
yeah.
still coming down to like ground zero with you as a person.
Yeah. So I sort of used to joke around and say, look, it's going to be a bit of a rough sailing here for a while. But one day
Well, she ended up becoming the captain of the boat.
One day the clouds will open up and the ship's just going to come pouring out into the paradise, and
Yeah.
all the clouds will fuck off. And
Well,
that took about 7 years. So
well, from what I see now on a day-to-day basis when I'm working with you or around you, it's definitely nothing but plain sailing now for you two.
we've got a good life, man. The kids are
Yeah.
amazing, and we've got a lot of spare time. Like basically someone's weekend, that's our fucking Tuesday or Wednesday, and we like to have a lot of fun. So it's just good, man. And she just lets me do what I want. So
Yeah, I see what you have, you and Shaz and the kids. And even obviously with Tony, like Shaz's dad, who I've got to meet.
Yep.
And I actually know your mum and stepdad from a previous life.
Yep.
When I lived here, so I know them and they're really nice people. And I just look at it and go, it's a beautiful Australian love story. I think you put it that way the other day for Valentine's Day, but I thought it was actually a really cool thing to say. And I look at it and it makes me not just happy for you, but it makes me believe in better for me.
yeah.
Because I'm still trying to figure that out myself, relationships and love and all those things.
You can't base it on that though. 'Cause
No.
If you're shooting pretty high, like
I know that. You fucking
it's
idiot.
like you're not gonna fucking just score that in 1 week.
No.
Off Tinder, like you're on Tinder.
I'm not on Tinder, bro. I don't do any of that shit. I'm actually a bit of a monker at the moment.
You just say first. You pick up line. Are you a shazza? Like,
Are you Shaz in disguise? That sounds a bit weird. I probably shouldn't go there. So we'll start wrapping this up, but it's been a lot of fun today, and I'm really glad that we got to do this again, because I know the first time we did this, you were very overwhelmed by the whole podcast thing, and but I feel like this time you've had fun. I feel like you've enjoyed it.
yep, for sure.
So we got a
It's been
couple
good.
of questions to wrap it up. I know
fucking more,
Lockdog's got a
bloody
couple.
hell.
It's only a few, and we'll keep the answers short.
bet you they're
short,
dead.
short and sweet.
Yeah, we'll
I
keep
bet
them
you they're deep as well.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
We'll
They're
keep them
short and
short.
sweet,
All
because
right, go on then. Fire away.
so far I've spoken about where you were, where you are now.
Yep.
So this is more about where's Dan Smith heading? Where's he going? What's the bigger plan? So we'll start with, where do you see 5 years?
Well, just cruising along, really. Like, I don't know, I could probably work a bit harder if I wanted to. Who knows, I might start, working a bit harder, but at the moment it's just all about, time with the family, and just like in these years where they're, you want to be at home with them and stuff. I'm very lucky to, probably spend 80% more time than most dads do with their kids.
Yeah.
It's just fucking killer. So I just want to keep doing that. In 5 years, I just guess I'll be 5 years older.
Well, you've heard the big plan. Just
All right.
I love to
Let
I love to travel as well. So a few more stamps on the passport
Yeah.
would be good.
All right, let me frame it in another way then. Where do you see Killer Moe's in 5 years?
Oh well, I've no doubt that it will continue to grow as it is. So it's just me filming my day-to-day life, and my family and friends, they're all repping it, and we just go places, and I just make bloody videos, and the next thing it's just blowing up, If I check my phone now, someone will want, 5 t-shirts. It's getting that busy that I need to organise a way to, organise a lot of stock, put it that way.
So, okay, if someone is that's watching today, to get on board with this amazing brand
Yep.
and support local, where do they go to order or look through the t-shirts of Killer Moe's?
Yeah, so just on Etsy.com at the moment. So setting up my shop on there. You basically order straight from Printify on the US, and that choose your clothes, and they will just send it out to you that way. So
Okay.
just sort of going through it. I'm pretty busy at the moment, you know, just with doing normal shit. But yeah, as I build that, it'll be the spot to go, and then I can just put on the link with all my videos or whatever that people to buy it, and then they know that that's going to support. It's not going in my pocket, put it that way. I'm living off the demolition money, and this is my passion, so I'll be helping everyone else, you know. That's what I want to do, and I've got heaps of fucking ideas too.
And
cool.
you're also on social media, so
Well, we'll put Killer Moe's on the link. We'll put the link in it.
Tag the Instagram one though, because I don't really.
No, we'll put the Killer Moe's Instagram on there.
Yeah, so Facebook's more the just like, you know, you just got to have a have a page on Facebook, but Instagram's where it's at. So
Just in case as well, anybody has forgot or didn't hear what his name is, it's not Adam Reynolds. There's Rabbitohs player that it looks just like. It's Dan Smith. Look this way, Dan. This way. There you go. See? Adam Reynolds. Is it Adam Reynolds?
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam
I've got
Reynolds.
no idea.
All right, cool.
All right, next question. How do you want to be remembered?
A better man than I was. How about that?
No.
Or put on my tombstone, here lays a good cunt.
Oh, shit. All right, well, that's fucking hell.
It's the news of the week.
All right.
That's a wrap.
Well, it's been a journey and a half. It's been a journey and a half, and it's been a pleasure to have who I look at as a real good friend of mine on here, and someone who's been a very big supporter of us as a business, Mr. Lockdog.
100%.
One of the first people to always comment, like, and support us, and also someone that keeps me motivated to keep going when I feel a little bit. How you going?
Yeah, well, that's all it takes as well. There's a lot of people out there that will watch the videos, listen to the podcast, just fucking like it, you know, share it. Like, don't just scroll on. This is how online businesses grow. It's through interaction. So don't be dry, man. Just like help people along their journey, and they'll get there quicker. And when you pay it forward like that, it always comes back. So
if you, one thing I want to ask, I want you to say before we leave, if there's people watching this now that are you at 18, 17, like where you were, like you've described, and they're listening and going, fuck, that's where I am. And they could even be older, 19, 20, 21, 20. What is the one thing that you would say to them to do about changing their life around?
Okay, so you definitely need to, it doesn't happen overnight by any means. There's probably a fucking 3-year sort of plan. You know how people say, oh, what's your 5-year plan? It'd probably be, you know, good 3 years, but the best bet is to get away. Like, so look for your away work jobs, you know.
Change your cage.
Definitely find fitness, whatever fitness it is, whether it's, you know, combat sport or just gym or, you know, something that really takes it out of you, you know. Just find a passion. Doesn't have to be sport, but you got to...
But something, a hobby.
You have
something, a passion that you want to do.
Yeah, it has to be... Whatever you're doing now obviously isn't working. It has to be different. Like, you have to step out of your comfort zone, which is sometimes the hardest thing to do, might just be to walk into a boxing gym.
Get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, nice. All right, cool. Well, that's a wrap, I believe. Mr. Lockdog, would you say?
It is definitely a wrap.
So thank you very much for tuning in. As always, we want to make sure that this podcast and platform reaches as many people and helps as many people as it can. And so to do that, to grow us, to make sure that we invest and get inside of people's heads, hearts and minds, we need you to hit the subscribe button, the like button, the share button, tell people all about this podcast and the safe space it creates for people to come on and just listen and learn.
All right, and I'll leave you with this. To feed a problem, keep thinking about it. To starve a problem, take action.
Wow.